What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you watched the last video, you know that we've got a new machine and you'll know it's a bit broken. So this video, we're going to pull it apart, see exactly what's wrong with it so that we can start fixing things and get it pulling shots. I'll give you a quick little recap. We bought the cheapest Pavoni Europiccola on the internet that I've ever seen, so I didn't expect wonders from it. It is not in great condition. It looks nice, but it's been sitting for over 10 years without use after being used for about 5. So with all the seals and stuff, they're still original, I believe. It's bad. Turn it on, as soon as it builds pressure up, water just starts pouring out the shower without touching the lever. This is supposed to activate like that. But as soon as there's pressure, water just pours out. So we're going to drain this guy. We're going to start pulling it apart to see exactly what we need. And then we can order some things and get all the right stuff. Alright, now because I'm nowhere near famous enough to have my own filmer, I need to do this with a tripod setup. I'm going to do my best to keep you guys in the loop on exactly how to do this if you're trying to, or if you're just watching this for entertainment's sake. So there's probably going to be a little bit of cutting if I've forgotten a tool. Let's get into it. First things first, realistically, make sure you drain all the water from it, get rid of the drip tray, all the water out of it. And then you can just start removing little accessories that you know come off nice and easily, like the handle, steam wand. That is supposed to have a little grub screw, but it's not there for some reason. Don't worry, we don't need this to make milk anyway. Thinking about doing some kind of delete there anyway. Not a big deal. So I've gone ahead and just pulled the circlips off the front of the machine here, just on one side. So both of these circlips are gone. They're on the bench over there. Now before you pull the pins out, grab the 14mm spanner and undo that guy there just to break the seal. Then we can pull those pins out. Now before I remove this, I'll show you that hole is below the center. So keeping in mind that that hole must be at the bottom when you reassemble. If you do it this way, you're going to damage things. And then once you've loosened these enough so that they're up higher, don't remove those just yet. Supporting the machine, grab yourself a mallet. Geez, tight. Oh my Lord. That is one extremely damaged seal. That is, it's falling apart in my hand. This is why we replace things, guys. That's disgusting. So any coffee coming out of this wouldn't have tasted very good. Oh my gosh. Right. So I don't know if you can see on camera there, but this seal in particular, the lower one, it's supposed to be quite flared out, a little bit more like the top one. That's to create enough pressure so that the water doesn't pass through. But that definitely hasn't been happening. I may even look into replacing this bushing as well if it doesn't clean up nicely. Wow, it's pretty bad. It's a good tip if you're working on nothing in particular is to just keep everything together. As you can see, I've just popped all the nuts back on where they go, especially if you're not reassembling it at the same time. There's projects in between this one, and I don't want to forget where anything goes, even though these things are quite simple. Now for the fun part, we're actually going to remove the group head. Much easier to inspect when it's not on the machine. Be very careful here because there's an O-ring and you do not want to bend the pickup tube at all. That looks pretty nasty. Just a lot of build up on there. Just poor maintenance really. Inside there's a couple of O-rings we're going to get to a little bit later. Surface inside there looks pretty good. We're going to clean that up and that will seal up just fine. Grab yourself a 16mm socket. Now not all sockets are going to fit in here because it's a very tight fit. Okay, little valve is looking okay. We'll double check all of that shortly, but it's looking okay for now. Now we get into the really fun stuff. And this is where you need to be very careful with the machine that you don't break anything, and you may actually need some specific tools. So depending on the generation of machine you've got, some of them have this little screw that holds the base onto the machine, and you need to use what's called a Torx bit. So that's what we call it in Australia. I don't know about everywhere else. And this is a T20. It also does have a little center hole, like a security style hole. I don't know why. In case someone would want to steal the center of your machine. Pop that guy out. And then the base of the machine can come away. Just be very careful. It is plastic, it is old, it is Italian. If you know, you know. So there are a lot of connections under here, but everything's looking pretty healthy. I am going to probably go through and replace any of them that are a little bit questionable. Some of them feel a little bit loose, and that's okay, because I can fix that. Okay, I'm going to pull the rest of it apart. So under here I can actually see that the build date is April 2002. I'm really bad at math, but you can probably work that out, that it's over 15 years old. It's now 2023. So that's quite old. That's much older than I expected, to be honest. And it is in much better condition than I expected. So we're doing well. So far so good considering the age of this machine. These guys are just a 4mm Allen key under here. You don't need to disconnect the wires just yet, if at all. It's not always necessary. Just remember there is an earth there that will need to go back on somewhere. Probably just go to the same spot. You could pick anywhere you like, as long as it's bolted. Alright, and there's our heating element, which is nasty. So this is what I was saying by insides it's quite bad. There's just a lot of scale build up. We're going to fix that. You could do it in the machine, but I want to go to the next level while it's apart and really clean this thing up. So you could run a typical descale with a solution inside the machine, but I want to do this perfectly and make sure there's no leaks while we're at it. And we'll be replacing the O-ring inside. I've just got a kitchen sponge with a little bit of dish soap on there just to clean inside the main body. I'm just going to get in there and just give it a good scrub just to try to get rid of any junk that's sitting inside. Oh wow, there's a lot. It's a good thing I'm doing this. I'm going to go and give it a rinse at the sink, come back and inspect, and we'll go again if need be. So in the process of scrubbing, this actually worked itself free, which is great news. That means I can get in there a little bit better, even though it came up pretty good. But I'll sort that out in the background. You don't need to watch me scrub that all day. I have removed the element. I took about 1,000 photos underneath to get all the cables the right way when you replace it. But what we're going to do here, I'll put in a little bit of liquid descaler in a clear glass. Something that fits that inside is ideal. Then we're going to pop some hot water in there and let that guy soak. You can use vinegar if you want to, or just, you know, typical coffee descaler. If you're doing this sort of work, you should probably have descaler. So we're going to let that soak while we're worrying about other things. I'm just going to go and clean everything up off camera. You don't need to watch all of this stuff. It's pretty boring. And then I'll come back and fill you in on the plan from here. Now we're going to focus on the group head of the machine. So you can actually just unwind this guy. That pops straight out. Pop that guy aside. We'll clean that later. Inside here there's a couple of circlips. Well, there's one just inside. You need some circlip pliers. I think I've picked up the wrong ones. Yep, definitely have. So I'm back at the correct end on the pliers. You can use a flat or a 45 degree for most of these. This seems to work okay. Just like that. That's the circlip inside we need to get out. Pretty nasty inside there, guys. Let's pop that little washer out. And then inside, you can use your finger, but I probably shouldn't be. Use one of these little picks. Pull that guy out. That's your little O-ring, seal, something. And that's completely bare, apart from the O-ring there, but we'll leave that on for now. It's not in the way. And I'm just going to give this a good clean up off camera also. So now we've got the entire machine disassembled, well, as far as we need to go. We can start to pull apart all the little O-rings on this guy so we can inspect, make sure we don't need to replace the plunger. Really easy to do. Grab yourself this tool. Don't worry if you damage these, they're going in the bin anyway. And just note, I've done a video on this before and I actually made a mistake. I corrected it in the description. So the bottom plunger, O-ring, these are directional. So the flat outside is facing down on the bottom. And on the top, the flat outside is facing up. So you have to be very careful about that. I did make a mistake. I corrected it in the machine that I'd serviced. And it does make quite a bit of difference. Give the plunger a good clean. This is just to inspect. We can clean it properly later. Make sure there's no cracks, damage, or anything like that. If there is, you will have to replace this. But this one's actually looking pretty good considering. I think we're on. I think we're good, guys. Awesome. So we've pulled everything apart and now we know what we need. Everything. I need to replace every O-ring possible, every seal, all of the stuff. I've already ordered most of it because I knew we needed the basic stuff, or I wanted to do it anyway. I've also ordered a bottomless portafilter for two reasons. This one is an eBay knockoff and the basket just sits in there and it doesn't actually fit the machine properly. So don't buy those things off eBay. You're never going to get good coffee from those sort of things when they're cheap. You have to spend the money on certain parts. Some things you can get away with, it's fine. But yeah, all the O-rings are on the way. Everything's cleaning that needs to be cleaning. The element will be clean. I'll do that off camera, that's fine. But that's about it, guys. In the next video, you will see us putting this thing back together with all the new parts and the upgrades. I've got a couple of other things on the way as well. Nothing major, but that's it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have yourselves a great day and happy brewing.